What is up, everybody? It is the Vegans Who Live podcast with your favorite vegan co-hosts. We have Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle, and myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan. What's up, Brooke?
What's up? Excited to be here with you again.
I know we just got off the phone last night teaching our Vegans Who Live Coaching Academy. We got a pretty rock solid group of students here. Actually, really impressed with some of the reels that they've been making, so that's cool. Um,
Yeah.
so today we will eventually get into all things food. Everybody loves to talk about food. I know we get asked, where do you get your protein and all that stuff? And we have our answers. We've probably both answered this question a few thousand times individually, but I think it'll be fun to just kind of talk about some of like what we're enjoying right now because like food changes over time. I actually just made a recipe and put it on my YouTube channel that I haven't made in like 3 years, but I like just remembered, oh yeah, I can make this, so we can talk about that. But first, let's stick to the script because we don't always do that. I think we could cover our wins of the week. Are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So my win for the week, it just came back from my trip from Tampa visiting you. Um, and for me, that was a big challenge going on that trip for two reasons. One reason, I don't give myself a lot of time off, and uh, especially more than one day off. And I'm that person. I just have to like make myself take time off, and mostly it's just kind of like an anxiety thing. Like I get anxious about taking time off because what if somebody, like, I don't know, it sounds crazy, but it's like I worry about people getting upset that like I don't respond to their messages quickly. I feel like I may lose out on like potential clients, or just, I don't know, it's always like these what ifs, like if I'm falling behind. And then I think about, well, if I take these days off, then I'm that much more behind, and then I have that much more work to do when I actually, get back into it. So, am I setting myself up for even more stress and a heavier workload if I take time off? But I really, really needed it because it wasn't, I mean, it's been almost a year since I've even had a vacation. And even on that vacation, I was working. So I really felt like I needed it because I've been working a lot lately. I have more projects than I've ever had. For a long time I only did coaching for several years, and now I have, the business academy. I have this. I have the podcast, the YouTube, all things I'm grateful for. But it's important to make that time for myself because I can stretch myself too thin, and then it's like I'm not as productive, and I started feeling like I made a post about it, but I started feeling like a failure because I wasn't as productive and I didn't have the energy to work the way that I usually do. And I wasn't as sharp. I was having some brain fog. I was like more emotional, more easily irritated, frustrated. And I'm like, I just need a break. Like, I'm not failing at anything. I'm not behind. I'm not losing my touch. Like, I just need some time off. So I made some time off this weekend, and it was really nice. And yeah, the world didn't fall apart. Nothing bad happened. Everybody was fine. My clients were actually really, really supportive, and they were all like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so glad you're taking time off, like enjoy yourself. um so everybody was super understanding. Love my clients, and I appreciate them so much for supporting me through that. And then number two, um I typically don't go on vacations, and this sounds like horrible, but it's just the truth. I don't typically go on vacations when I'm not really at a composition that I'm really proud of, because obviously you want to go on vacation, you want to take pictures, you want to wear your cute outfits, especially on a beach trip. Um, so I'm not really at the composition that I like to be at. I'm like really 10 pounds over where I like to hang out when I'm not competing. And I decided I was just going to do it anyways, and just accepted that this is where I'm at, and I don't want to let my life go by and miss out on opportunities and time with my friends, time with my family, just because I'm not crazy about what I look like. And I've done that for so long. I did that for years and years and years, I missed out on so many things, and I turned down so many trips and events and fun things to do just because I didn't want to have to show up in a swimsuit or a certain outfit or take pictures or whatever. Um, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna love my body. I'm gonna love the things that my body does for me, and enjoy spending time with my family, my friends, and truthfully, it's like nobody cares, you know. So I have to, you know, people always say, what would you tell your best friend? And it's like, if it was my best friend, I'd be like, dude, nobody cares. Like, you could be like 400 pounds, like no one cares. We just want to hang out with you. We love you. We just want to see you. And so I just kind of pushed myself to just go and to love my body and not let that hold me back, and wear the swimsuits, wear the cute outfits, take the pictures, and not obsess about food, not obsess about steps, getting steps in and all that stuff. And yeah, it was really nice. So for me, it was just kind of a challenge. I kind of accepted that I'm not going to compete this year, which is a whole nother podcast I could get into. But um, and so that was going to be my challenge this year, was competing, and then this instead is going to be my challenge, and my challenge is going to be just loving myself, and you know, working through some of that kind of, I guess, those mental hurdles of feeling like I'm a failure when things don't go exactly as planned, and I have to get over that hurdle because it's just not true, and starting to not be so hard on myself, and in multiple ways, like not only how I look, my body, my composition, but with work as well, and my performance, and all sorts of things, just learning to be easier on myself. And really, that's the challenge I needed. I didn't need to compete. That's not really going to help me grow and change and evolve as a person. This is really what's going to help me grow and change. So yeah, I would say that would be a huge win for me this week, is doing that, because I've never done that before, ever.
I'm proud of you, dude. That's a big win. Um, and you know this as well as I do, or probably anybody else that's done some hard things. Like, the things that are uncomfortable and challenging for you are probably the things you need to lean into the most. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad personally. It was nice to see you, but also I'm glad that you were able to value yourself and make that choice to go. Not everybody would, and I think too, with our lifestyle and with trying to be like high achievers, maybe even overachievers, um, it is hard to take that step back. You put a lot of pressure on yourself, especially. I bet you didn't have this anxiety prior to being self-employed. I bet, at least in
Right.
my own experience. I mildly had it when I was in school and I was taking like 5 classes at once, and that was a lot. But still, like, there was an end date. I knew once the semester was over, I could relax. And with running your own business and coaching, like you said, like, what if I don't reply to somebody's DM fast enough and they sign up with another coach? Or what if I don't get back to this client in 24 hours and they're like, I don't want to work with you anymore? It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. So good for you. So when you say take time off, did that mean you didn't work at all the whole time? Oh, wow.
No, yeah, I didn't do any emails. I wasn't on my app, my coaching app at all. And I mean, I took pictures obviously while I was down there of food and stuff, but honestly, that's more so for me and less about content, because I just love, like, you know, documenting
Yeah.
all the cool vegan stuff I eat while I'm down there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I didn't really do anything. Just enjoyed myself.
Hell yeah. The thought of doing that terrifies me. So
Yeah.
you're braver than me. I can't remember the last time I've taken more than maybe 12 or 18 hours off from checking in on clients. Um, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. I know the answer to this. Did you take off time from the gym? Did you train? Did you just have fun? How did you manage the bodybuilding aspect?
So it's funny because I had full intention of going down there and, like, training, getting all my steps in, sticking to my macros, and I really thought about it on my way down there, and I'm like, honestly, I need a break from everything. Like, I needed a break from bodybuilding and all of that as well. Now I still train. I still train because I don't want it to seem like I'm like, I just went off the deep end, because I didn't. I love to train. But I was certainly not worried about hitting PRs. I didn't even care about following my training plan. I mean, you know that. I just jumped in with you guys. I was just like, fuck it. Like I'm just gonna do their workout. Like I wasn't gonna stress about recording my sets and my weights and all. I was just like, whatever. I'm just gonna train like I'm having fun with my friends at the gym, which is really what we did. And same thing with food. I did okay with food. I did give myself a few meals here and there. But I just didn't really worry about it too much. I didn't really worry about my macros. Like I just honestly ate when I was hungry, which was kind of nice. Instead of stressing about like, oh, well, I'm not that hungry, but I need to get, 30 grams of protein in right now. So yeah, I did get tons of steps in because I walked on the beach, but like those days that I was traveling, the day that I traveled down, I did really well, but the day I traveled back, there was the hurricane, and so my plan was I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna walk, and then we'll get in the car, go home. I can come home, do some cardio. Didn't happen, obviously, but I didn't stress about it. Normally, I would be stressed like, oh my god, like I've barely moved all day. So yeah, I definitely gave myself a lot of leeway and just was like a normal person on vacation this weekend, I would say, which was definitely nice because yeah, I mean I like you, I've done nothing but track macros and track workouts and all that for years and years and years and years and years. And I don't think I was burnt out on it. Um I think honestly it was a really good break for me because I'll say this, after eating off my plan, I didn't weigh myself, but I probably was holding several pounds of water. I mean, I could just feel myself, and like my rings like weren't fitting the next day, and I could just my workouts weren't as good. Sitting as much as I did in the car, my back was killing me. So like I've had to come home and like do all my stretching and stuff again. So I could just tell like, okay, well, this is what it feels like when I'm not in my routine. And it just made me that much more motivated to get back home and get back into my routine, which is really what I needed because I was at home like kind of going crazy with all the activity I have to do and with how strict my food has been since January, plus last year with my gut protocol. So it was good for me to just like give myself a little bit of freedom. And then I really didn't feel my best. And especially compared to how I normally feel. So then I was like, this is why I do what I do. And this is why it's important to keep my steps high and to eat, clean foods and to prioritize protein and whole foods and stuff. So when I got home, I was just like, I am ready to get back on it. Like we're doing it right now. So it was good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good for you, dude. I think sometimes we all need that reset, and at least I'll be more fast to take the physical reset than the business reset, or the working reset. But yeah, 100%. So well, good. Glad to see you're back at it, and it sounds like you are more excited to go back into it now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Like just a few days. I mean, I could just tell. I'm like, this is why we do what we do because it's truly you feel so much better even just a few days. It's just crazy how quickly your body will respond. And like most of my supplements I left at home too, like a lot of my, like our electrolytes and like my pump stuff. And so I could just really tell a difference in how I felt. So I was just so excited to get home and just get back into it. It just gave me that new motivation to just keep doing what I'm doing.
Good deal. Um, well, moving along so we can keep this somewhat brief. I will pick 2 wins for the week, typical of me. One will be a social win, I guess, friends. Um, so it was like a long week. Rachel and Alex both came down here, putting that out there. Rachel's one of my clients, one of our academy graduates, and she's super fun to hang out with. She's super nice. So it was good to get to see her. And then, of course, to see Alex, aka Ya Bonks. He's the one that, if you guys don't know him, he helps run Karma Farm Sanctuary. He's the reason I was able to get this head tattoo and donate the money to the pig that he saved, Henry the pig. So spent a lot of time with him and Rachel, and then Rachel left and you got here. So then I spent a lot of time with you and Alex and Allie. And then you left, and then Allie left, and it was just me and Alex, and like we were chilling, and we went and got slutty vegan. Um, it was really nice and healing to have that time. I feel like him and I are very, very similar. We both, a lot of common things with you as well, Brooke, but like social media presence is similar, work ethic is similar, our hearts are in it for the animals, that sense of overwhelming and always doing a lot is there. So him and I get each other really well. And he left, and last night I was just so used to having either him or Allie down the hall. I was like, dang, I don't know if I'm lonely or like a little bit heartsick, but this is this is weird. It's quiet. It's been not quiet here for like well over a week, and now it's quiet. But yeah, so social wins, that was good. And that was supposed to be the fast one. So I checked in with my coach this week. In the off season, he has us do every 2 weeks, not quite as frequent.
That's
And
nice. Yeah.
I guess it's nice. I mean, it saves me a little bit of time, but I think I know what it I slacked off a bit. Knowing that I had 2 weeks to get ready for a check-in, man, I could theoretically fuck around for a little bit and then you know, try and clean it up before the check-in. I mean, basically, I'll always stick to the plan. I don't like binge and purge it, but I did go out to eat a lot more than I should have. And at the last check-in, so not this most recent one, the one before it, he did lower my macros a bit and tell me that we're going to enter into this kind of mini cut phase, try and get 15, 20 pounds off, get my insulin sensitivity in a good spot, and then we're going to push back up on the food and gain some more quality mass. And he was really looking for a good solid drop in weight. And I took my photos. I thought they looked pretty good. The weigh-ins had that week they went pretty high. I had a weigh in at almost 259 pounds, which I've never had before. And I was 251 at the last check-in. So like I was up. And I know some of it was just food and whatnot. I think you gave me some cookies that I ate. So I'll blame you. No, this is me. I take full responsibility here. And he basically, in a very kind and professional way, let me know that he was disappointed in me and that we had set out a goal 2 weeks ago and that I had completely missed the mark and I actually went the wrong direction. And this really isn't what we're looking for. And we really need to do better. Like, this is just not acceptable. And at first, being fully honest, I almost felt like throwing my phone and just quitting bodybuilding. I was like, I feel like I'm in this limbo between trying to be this social media person, a coach, a bodybuilder, and like the one that really takes away from me the most physically, like my physical health, financially, and time is bodybuilding. And I was like, maybe I'm just done with this shit. Like, I can't even make him happy. So why should I try? And then I thought about it for a moment longer and I was like, I'm just upset because he's right. Everything he's saying is right. Is I have disappointed not just him, but also my prior self that set some goals. I've been overwhelmed mentally and with work. And so I kind of use that as an excuse of, well, I've had one meal off plan today. Might as well just eat off the plan all day today and then get back on it tomorrow. Um, and so, yeah, I had been just fucking up. Like, that's just an honest answer right there. And I really appreciate my coach. He's never told me what I wanted to hear. He's always told me what I needed. And I think I was just lacking some discipline. I don't even want to say motivation because like motivation comes and goes. I was lacking discipline. And after hearing his message, it kind of like made this more of into a game for me. Like, okay, let's see if I can stick with it the next 2 weeks. That's what I said. I asked permission for you to give me 2 weeks to get this shit locked in and show up much better and do everything that's asked. And even to the point he's like, I know you have to eat on camera sometimes, you go to events, but you need to treat this like prep. It needs to be like prep. You did prep, you did 20 weeks, you didn't eat off plan once. Give me 8 weeks. And I'm like, shoot, I got the Georgia Veg Fest coming up August 25th. Right before that, I'm going to Disney with Allie the week before. The week after, I'm going to New York. Um, and then also I'm going to St. Augustine for a week for Allie's 40th birthday. Like, The next month, I'm gone more days than I'm home. I'm home like Monday and Tuesday each week. That's it. And there's a lot of food events. And I'm like, how am I going to make this work? Is this even possible? And then I thought about it. Like when I went to Slutty Vegan with Alex, I got one sandwich and one little thing of fries that came with the sandwich. And I think it was about 1,000 calories. I tracked the macros as best I knew how. And I stayed on my plan the whole rest of that night. Like I'll make it fit. And my food's still relatively high, like around just under 4,000 calories, I think. So like it shouldn't be that hard to fit in a meal off. I just like my food. I like so like what ends up happening is I eat all the food that I like that's in my plan and then I add on top of it. So of course I'm messing up. So anyways, I've made this way longer, but I feel like I got some discipline and some purpose back. Like I don't want to let my coach down, but ultimately that's not that big of a deal. Like I shouldn't let myself down. And if coaching's not right or I don't want to be a bodybuilder, I need to fire my coach like right now. And I'm not ready to fire him. So that tells me I do want to keep doing this and I want to execute at a higher level. I realize like, I'll talk a lot of shit about other people. I'll be like, oh, they're not training as hard as they could. And here I am not eating as hard as I could, or like, if I'm gonna talk about somebody for not training like a bodybuilder, I have no authority if I'm not eating like one myself. So as of yesterday, I'm like fully on this train and I'm heading to Miami tomorrow to go eat at places the next 3 days. And like, I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm going to do my best to track the macros and I'm not going to just eat like an asshole and I'm going to make some progress. And I think I had been kind of spiraling out of control. And this is like what pulled me back in. I feel like I can control this now. I don't have to go out and eat one of everything on the menu. I don't have to eat until my stomach hurts or until I can't go for a walk later because I'm so uncomfortable. I think I had some binging going on that I just didn't want to admit to myself, and this is pulling me back in. So I'm excited. Hopefully, have you guys an update here at the next podcast. So thank you for listening. I got long.
Look, I feel like sometimes you just need it, and I mean that's what you're paying him for, is for that honest feedback, whether you want to hear it or not. And your goals are a little bit different than just somebody who like wants to be healthy and just kind of be in good general shape. Like you just have different goals. So um yeah, but I mean, I think your career has changed a lot too, since you first started bodybuilding. So like going to these events and um going to these restaurants and working with other vegan business owners, like that's something that you didn't have when you first started bodybuilding and doing your shows. So it's just a new kind of challenge that you're going to have to navigate and just kind of figure out how to fit that into your goals. Like anything else, like traveling, like there's people who you get in great shape, then you get a new job, and then you have to travel more. Those first couple weeks might be a little bit rocky, but then you kind of start figuring it out once you realize, like, you get a wake up call, like, damn, I'm up 9 pounds, like, all right, we got to figure it out now. So I feel like it could have been worse for sure. So I feel like, give yourself a little bit of a break. And you did have company in town and you had a lot of things going on. And so, all you can do is move forward from here and do better.
Yeah, I'm excited to do better. This is a challenge for me. I think I had just been I talked to prior to dating Allie, I went on a single date with a um disordered eating specialist and she said every single case she had worked with came from people that had some sort of restrictive diet or restrictive personality, or whether it was true like environmental restriction, like they just didn't have money to eat or their country didn't have food, or it was self-imposed. It's that restriction that led to the binging. So I think I'm going to be okay this weekend. I'm going to view it as like, okay, I get to go out, but I got to make this fit my macros, do my best there. At least I have some experience. And I think if I view it that way, like, okay, I can make this fit versus, I can't eat off plan. I can't off plan. I can't off plan. Okay, I'm off plan. I'm going to go way off. Like, I think it'll actually be healthy for me. So I'm excited to try it. A little bit nervous and like, oh, how's this going to work? But I'll figure it out. So, um, well, all that talk about food, and now we're going to just talk about food.
More food.
I don't know. Do you want to give any like restaurant shout outs anywhere that you tried either in your neck of the woods or when you were in Tampa, that any food that like really stood out to you?
Mm. In Atlanta, my by far my favorite place is this restaurant called Urban Fix. That is by far the best vegan restaurant in Atlanta. It's kind of like Asian style food, and it's so impressive. There's so many good things there. Um, that's really the only one that sticks out to me. In Atlanta, it's a lot of kind of like I don't know, like burger kind of stuff, but it's mostly just people taking an impossible patty and then making a burger out of it. It's not like they're like, I don't
Uh,
know, home, like making it in-house or making like the buns or like the cool like the ingredients so a lot of places are like that. Um there's a couple of raw vegan places which that's just not really my thing.
yeah.
So yeah, it's surprising to me because Atlanta's such a big diverse city. You would think it would be a lot better, but it's kind of disappointing if I'm being honest. Like we just always go to Urban Fix if it's my birthday, if it's some sort of event, like that's always where we go.
Well, either before or after the 25th. A reminder, if anybody wants to come out and see me, Sean, potentially Brooke at the Vegans Explore booth, August 25th, there is the Georgia Veg Fest. So come check us out. But before or after that, I'm going to have to try Urban Fix. If it's your favorite place in Atlanta, I need to try it. I didn't try it last time I was there. I did try at the street party, one of the two. The pizza place that's out
Oh,
there.
plant-based
That's good,
pizzeria.
right? Plant-based
Now I
pizzeria.
Yeah, I love plant-based pizzeria. I don't eat pizza very often just because pizza is like a total calorie bomb. Like even when I have like a cheat meal, I do try to be strategic with my cheat meals. But like the plant-based pizzeria, I had that after my show and I did have that a couple times prior and yeah, it's very impressive because they have all sorts of different pizzas. Like they had a
Yeah.
Mexican pizza with like jalapenos and guac on it. They have like a buffalo chicken ranch pizza. Uh, they had a Georgia peach pizza, and I
Yes,
waited
I had
forever
that.
to. Yes, I waited forever to try it because it sounded weird. I'm like, I don't know, peaches on it because I'm
Yeah.
not a pineapple on pizza person. So I was like, I
Oh,
don't know about that. But oh my god, that's like probably my favorite thing there. It's so good.
hell yeah. Dude, you know what'd be good? Just like a fruit barbecue. I don't know why I've
That would
never
be
tried
good.
that. Yeah, like peaches, pineapples,
Oh yeah, grilled
apples.
peaches, so
Yeah.
good.
Bananas. I know people that do bananas on a grill, like with the skin on them, or maybe it's plantains. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
see, this could be an easy cheat meal that's like healthy. Um,
yeah.
um, cool. I am gonna shout out Vegan International Co. in Tampa. They are rock solid. Everything I tried. We tried their pink lobster special that was made out of lion's mane. That was super good. Voodoo Vegan, if you come back out here, they have the best sushi I've ever had as a vegan. So that's
Ooh,
a rock
yum.
solid spot. Yeah, yeah. So next time you're in Tampa, we got to check that out. Um, trying to think if there's anything really cool that I've had lately. Um, ooh, dang. So I was at the Vegan International Food Festival and I had this vegan like fish. Like it was like his fried fish from oof. Sean might be able to help me out. I think it's man, I should remember this. It's something seafood or like vegan by the sea or vegan seafood. I don't know. I can't remember the exact name. I feel horrible now, but the food was really good. Um, but yeah.
It's
Okay, so like,
amazing. At Urban Fix, that's kind of what really impressed me there. They had a fish fillet that tasted just like fish. It was crazy how it had that kind of like like ocean fishy taste. I was just really, really impressed with it. They have really good sushi too. Yeah, it's really amazing what people can do with vegan food now.
I just found it. It's called Oh My Cod. I knew that was that. Oh my God, vegan. They're like a mobile
That's
truck. I don't know if it's gonna be able to pick up on the camera at all, but like the
oh
one on
yeah,
the
I see those
bottom
curly
there,
fries. Or yeah.
yeah, the fish was super good. And they had like these oyster mushrooms that were supposed to be like, I think calamari. I don't know. I've never had. You know what's funny? There's certain vegan foods that are like imitating meat. I've never had calamari in my life, like ever. Never had it once. Never had
I used to love
oxtail.
calamari.
So there's like a few animal things that I've never eaten. Oh, I was talking to Alex about this. Sorry, this is a complete sidebar. But think about this. One, the argument for veganism that I can find, if a superior alien race came to the Earth and was stronger than us, like even think like Predator from the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they come here and they're like, "Well, give us a logical reason not to eat you." We have no reason. Like we eat animals because we're smarter than them or because we're stronger than them, but not because of anything else. And so the aliens could eat us. And it's like we got no argument against that. But then I thought about it. If we ever find an alien species, we're gonna try to eat them. Undoubtedly. Name a single species on this planet that humans haven't either casually or for necessity eaten, including humans. Humans have eaten other humans. So
That's
like
true. Yeah.
literally we'll put anything's in our mouth. Any animal, any so if we find aliens, somebody will eat one. I promise you. Unless they're smarter than us and they
Yeah.
enslave us and eat us. So I don't know. Just a weird thought that I had the other day. Like doesn't even matter what they look like. They could look like a squid and we're still gonna try and eat them because we're freaking people and we eat everything.
Yeah. And then they're
Oh
gonna
Lord.
pop through our stomach like an alien.
You know what? Sometimes you get what's coming to you. All right. Well, let's talk about like kind of what we're currently doing. I'll share. So right now I have some tiered macros. They're a little bit lower on my off days. They're a little bit higher on 1 day per week, and then I have training days that are kind of the same across the board. So I'll basically go over my training days because that's the majority. So right now we're doing 350 grams of protein, 450 carbs, and 80 grams of fat. So if we do the math, people might not know this, but protein and carbohydrates contain the same number of calories per gram. They're 4 calories per gram. So I'm getting 3,200 calories a day from proteins and carbs combined. And then fats have 9 calories per gram. So I'm getting 720 calories a day from fat. So it puts me at like 3,900 calories a day. 350
Wow.
protein, 450 carbs, 80 grams of fat. So I have some room to play. It's actually down significantly. I'm down a little bit on protein and down a lot on carbs. I'm down from 400 or from 580 on carbs. So food's a little bit less. Not really noticing any differences yet, but I just figured I'd throw out where I'm currently sitting. Do you have a meal plan or do you follow macros? How does that work for you right now?
Yeah, so I do have macros because my coach is not vegan and he didn't feel comfortable creating a vegan diet for me because he just didn't know how to structure, like all the essential amino acids and complete proteins and stuff like that. So he was just like, I know you know what you're doing, so I'm just going to let you do it. And like you, I do have high days and I do have low days. Um, I guess I can share my macros. My macros are really, really low. So I don't want someone to listen to this and copy my macros because everyone needs different macros. And I just run into this all the time on Instagram where people ask me what their macros are and then they want to try to follow my macros. And I'm like, please don't, like, please don't. So mostly carbs on my training days, I have 120 grams. On my rest days, I have 90 grams. On training days for protein, I have 175 grams of protein, and I have the same on my rest days as well. And then for fats on my training days, I have 35 grams of fat, and on my rest days, I have 25 grams of fat. So my macros are really, really, really low, really
Yeah.
low. I'm in a fat loss phase. I'm supposed to be in prep, but that's just not really working out right now. So I've decided to pull the plug on that. Mostly I'm having some thyroid issues, so I've just had to really diet down to be able to lose weight, and we're still trying to figure out why that is based on blood work and my thyroid and all sorts of different stuff, figuring out my dosage and all sorts of different things. So yeah, but my macros are typically when I'm just hanging out and maintaining, they're actually much higher than that. And actually, previously in a fat loss phase, I prepped on 1,800 calories for a really long time, and that's how we knew something was off. Was because these macros are so low, and I'm just like barely moving. So I just wanted to like put that out there because I know somebody's gonna try to copy my macros.
Well, somebody might copy mine and then they get fat. So
Yeah, I wish so
viewer
bad I could eat your
discretion
macros.
advised. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, that's why they're your macros and my macros assigned by a coach, somebody that has a clue of what they're doing. And you hit a great note here. Like, yeah, I'm on macros, but I pretty much assign myself a meal plan because that's what I would want if I were being coached. I don't want to have to go to the kitchen every day and try and fit a new meal in and calculate the macros. And like Allie's doing this. Allie is working under me. She's doing a phenomenal job, except for when I drag her to all these vegan restaurants and shove food in her face. Outside of that, she's killing it. And she's like, oh my gosh, though, this is a lot of work. Like, I know you wrote me a meal plan, but I like some more variety. I'm having to go back every day and like calculate stuff. And my last meal, I have to calculate it like 3 times to get everything to line up perfectly. I'm like, that's the beauty of tracking your macros. It's a pain in the ass, but you get flexibility. So um,
Yeah,
I try to make my life easy and eat almost the same things every day. Sometimes I'll
yeah,
throw something new in there, but I'll still keep like 4 or 5 out of my 6 meals the same, and then one meal has a little variation. So, what I meant to get to 36 minutes ago when we started this episode was talk kind of what we currently eat. What are some fun things we do? Basically, people can take these items and go make it fit their macros. And I'll kick it off with the one I just posted on YouTube. I haven't made this in like 3 years, but I don't know where I came up with this idea. But what I do is I take sweet potatoes, I cook them in the microwave because I'm lazy and that's the easiest way. I guess you could bake them too, but I put them in the microwave. Pro tip: if you're going to be eating sweet potatoes, weigh them before you cook them. Not naming any names, Allie put in half of a sweet potato as her serving size, and she's like, "Oh, it's half of a medium potato." And I was like, "That looks like a big potato. That looks like 450 grams or so." Um, and she's like, "Well, it should be close because it's a half of a medium one." It came out to like 16 carbs in her MyFitnessPal, and then we went and weighed another very similar sized potato. It was like 454 grams. I was like dead on. And if you eat like 225 grams of sweet potato, or whatever, it should have been like 40 or 45 carbs. So
yeah,
one, weigh your food in general, but also if it's a food like a sweet potato, you got to weigh it before you cook it because you could throw that thing in the air fryer for a while and take out all the water, and then you'll be way off. So, anyways, tangent over. Sweet potatoes, you cut them in half, you scoop out the middles, put that in a bowl on the side. Then in another bowl, you take some powdered peanut butter, maybe like a vanilla or a cake or a marshmallow treat protein powder. Mix it with the peanut butter and like some milk, maybe like almond milk or soy milk or whatever you do. Whip it up, put it inside the potato, put some cinnamon on top, some salt, and then microwave it again. It's like a twice baked sweet protein sweet potato. It's pretty good. And then
mm,
you got that whole bowl of little sweet potato mash on the side that you can put more protein mix on top with the peanut butter. If you like sweet potatoes, it's mind blowing. And I don't know why I haven't made this for 3 years, but I just did the other day. It was fun. So just a way to like kind of change up your diet, and it's still pretty macro friendly because like I don't know if you guys listen, but Brooke's fats are pretty low. Her carbs are low too, so this would take a hit on carbs, but you can still maybe use smaller sweet potatoes and more of the protein powder and the peanut butter pudding and not blow your fat macros out of the way. So that's one thing that I've been trying recently.
yeah. Yeah, for me, my macros are so low and they've just gotten lower and lower and lower over this entire year as I've been working with my coach. And I did lose 15 pounds, which was great, but I'm not in any place to prep for certain. So I'm at a place now where my macros are really low, but I'm very hungry. But that's just me. I have a big appetite. I've just always been that way. So it's like, all right, how can I get the most food in for
Yeah.
this amount of calories? So that's kind of my approach with my macros, and that's why I really focus on lean protein sources, and like this is really going to be any woman in a deficit though, because there are probably some really like petite women out there who would need my macros to get started. And if you're consuming protein sources like lentils, beans, you're eating into your carbs. So the reason I don't do that is because I want to eat my carbs. Like
Yeah.
if I'm eating my protein and my carbs in from one food, or even fats, for example. So I don't eat any tofu right now at all because I hardly have any fats. So the problem with tofu is it's also really high in fat. So an easy swap for me is that Big Mountain soy-free tofu.
Yep.
So any meal I would normally have with tofu, I can just swap that out, and then I get to eat fats. So instead of like only having, like, let's just for say example, tofu and quinoa, I can now have like the soy-free tofu, quinoa, and avocado. It's so much more filling. Like it's just so
Yeah.
much more volume. So that is what people, and like a lot of times I see like the people who are doing beans and lentils and chickpeas on Instagram, most of them are very active men who are like endurance athletes. Like they're doing a ton of running, a ton of like, they're just so active, and they have way more calories than a woman who needs like 1,500 calories a day. And if you're doing only lentils for your protein, like that's, you need a cup to get 20 grams, and that's what, about 200 calories. So like if you have 8 cups of lentils, I mean that's going to be most women's daily calorie limit, but you are going to meet your protein, but you're not going to have any other foods except for your freaking lentils.
Yeah.
So that's what people don't understand. So like for me, I just try to be strategic and really just try to get as much food as I can in, because if you're hungry, it's going to be so much harder to stay in that deficit. So I really just focus on lean protein. So my proteins right now, protein powder from Veg Nutrition. I love that soy-free tofu. Absolutely love that stuff. So I just cut it in half and I split that into 2 meals. My homemade seitan
Say
and
grace.
say grace. Yes. Yeah.
I knew it.
It's such a good one.
Awesome.
And I mean, it's 10
Yeah.
grams of carbs, but hardly any fat at all. Like these, zero fat.
Yeah.
So
It's basically soy protein isolate in a food.
yeah.
Love their stuff. So yeah, those are all super solid. If you're cutting, Brooke nailed everything that I would put in your cutting plan. If you're bulking and you got more fats, you could do regular tofu, regular tempeh, edamame, any of those soy-based foods like that. Some of the fake vegan meats. I don't typically plan those like into a diet, but you can work them in for a meal if you want. Um, what else? TVP is like hit or miss. It's got some carbs paired with it, so depending upon how high you want it, and something like TVP, you could just add a little bit on top. If you got like a yogurt bowl or a pudding bowl with protein powder, you could throw a little TVP on top of there for a crunch. Brooke taught me that like 3 years ago. I thought she was crazy, and now I watched Alex eat no less than 20 bowls of TVP. This guy lives on TVP.
I know that was
And
crazy.
he's just like post-workout, TVP and craisins. In between
Yep.
meals, TVP and craisins. Late night snack, TVP and craisins. Hey, bro, I made this protein bowl this morning. It's got 120 grams of protein and it's TVP and blueberries and craisins. And I'm just like, oh, and yogurt.
Yeah.
He threw yogurt in there. But anyways, TVP super cheap. It's complete protein because it's from soy. So another option depending upon where you're at. So like what's you said the big mountain tofu, quinoa, and avocado might be one meal. What's another like go-to fix for you right now that you enjoy?
So breakfast, I usually start off with either oats, protein oats, and typically with that I'll just do oats. I do oat bran right now. I've been doing oat bran. I just kind of like the consistency a little bit better, and for some reason my coach wanted me to do oat bran over rolled oats. I don't know, he said something about cholesterol. I don't know. So anyways, so I do that with a scoop of protein, veg nutrition protein. I was doing almond butter for a long time, but now that my fats are so low, I just make my own PB Fit. And I do that by mixing PB Fit with a little bit, tiny bit of sugar-free maple syrup, and some stevia, and it's like a little salt too, and then try to get the consistency right so it's kind of like an almond butter, and I just put that on top. And same thing with the cream of rice. It's literally the same meal. I just swap the oats for the cream of rice, and then sometimes I'll put fruit on top. That's either of those. That's how I start my day. I love those. I've been eating that for I don't know how long. I don't ever get sick of it. I don't know, because you can just change. You can change the
Yeah.
protein powder. You can change, like sometimes I'll change. Like Pride Foods is awesome because they have the different flavored cream of rice. So if I get bored, I'll just change that. So I never get sick of that. Like I love that breakfast. So I mean, if I guess on my if I have a low day on a rest day, sometimes I'll do a tofu scramble with the soy-free tofu with like
Okay.
turmeric, nutritional yeast, a tiny little bit of cashew cheese, and so that's pretty much no carb. So
Yeah.
sometimes I'll do that. But those are always my breakfast. Those go to, and I just rotate those. And the carb heavy ones are always pre-workout meals for sure. Um, so those
Do
are kind
you
of my go-tos.
you got to try taking the Big Mountain tofu and making like little French fries out of it
I still got to
and
do that.
air
Yeah.
frying them, and you could dip them in like I guess some like sugar-free ketchup. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Or you could make like little garlic sticks out of them if you put garlic and salt on. Like,
Mm.
oh, I love that. And they are the best food that I've found to air fry for whatever reason. They get really crispy on the outside, still a little chewy on the. It's just perfect. Like, if you guys haven't tried it, you're missing out. Um, you could probably do this in your creamy. I know you have the Ninja Creamy. I have come up with the concoction that I absolutely love. I call it like the protein s'mores graham cracker mix.
Mm.
It doesn't actually have all of that, but like what I'll do is I'll take my from True Nutrition, they have a marshmallow treat protein powder. So I'll take that. That's the base. And I mix that with ice and water. And then I add in powdered peanut butter. Um, and blend it up really thick. Like, I mean, there's like 3 ingredients. It's super easy. And then to give it the crunch, there's these edamame puffs. Like if you search for like, I think it's marshmallow flavored edamame puffs on Amazon, you'll find them. And they're like pure protein as well. They're pretty bland by themselves. Like I wouldn't just reach my hand in there and eat them. I mean, I've done that, but I wouldn't recommend it. Um, you blend up the thing, get it nice and thick like a milkshake, and then or like a frosty, and then you add the little edamame puffs and blend it again, and it's almost like blending up a graham cracker, because then
Mm.
there's like some consistency in the smoothie. Oh, I'm actually literally gonna make that as soon as we get off of here. Because
Mm.
it's stupid high in protein, almost no fat because you're using the powdered peanut butter, and it's got the crunch. And if you guys are listening to like the cutting versions of this, if you want to do the bulking version, just use regular peanut butter. It's super easy. Or instead of using edamame puffs, use some graham crackers. Like, all right, maybe don't eat graham crackers, but whatever you guys want. Like, you fit your macros and fit your digestion. That's another big part. Is like what digests well for you. Some people TVP
Yeah.
doesn't. Some people I have clients, a lot of my clients use a Say Grace. Some it works great, some can't handle it. And those that can't handle it can sometimes handle TVP. It's like, you know what? Everybody's different. That's the biggest takeaway there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when it comes to dessert, I mean, ooh, I've got so many things, especially because I've been on this recipe kick lately. But I'm a big dessert person. Like I love sugar. So, and that's the thing about being in a deficit for me is if I don't have something sweet worked into my plan, I know I'm going to have a hard time sticking with it. Like that is like a non-negotiable. Like we have to have something in there. So, I mean, lately I've been doing, yeah, my Ninja Creamies, and I mean, I just go crazy with those. I mean, there's just so many different things. I've used all the different veg nutrition proteins. They're all good. All the different sugar-free jellos. So if anybody listening, basically to make a protein ice cream, all you need is almond milk, um, like 8 grams of sugar-free jello mix, and then a scoop of protein. and you freeze it for like 12 hours minimum. And then you just run it in the Ninja Creamy, and it is just like ice cream. So that's been my thing lately. But I've been making a ton of stuff. I made some carrot cake muffins the other day. I've made all sorts of stuff with protein powder, mostly because it's just easy. It's just easy to make stuff with protein powder. I made these peanut butter cookies with PB Fit. Um, but I always have to have, like, my last meal is always like dessert. Meal 5 is always dessert because it just helps me stick with it. I just know myself. I know I'm going to want something sweet before I go to bed. So I have to do that.
You have to know yourself too. Like, I used to do that. I used to save my sweet meal for my last one. Now I kind of like it for my first meal because it kind of gets me. I mean, I'm always excited to eat, but I don't know. I like to start with something sweet. Um, I used to always do my last meal sweet as well, and I realized if I can talk on here. If I smoked weed first, actually I vaporize now, so there's no harmful things getting into my lungs that you might get from smoking. So, anyways, after vaping, like if I eat something sweet, I'm so much more likely to go raid the kitchen. I guess not anymore. I found my discipline. It's not going to happen. But like, the thought won't even really cross my mind if I eat something more savory or like bland. But you just have to know yourself. But if that works for you, and you're like, oh, I got my sweet thing to look forward to at the end of the night, I can stick on my plan the whole day. That's part of figuring yourself out. Um, one last recipe on my end, and then I'll let you close out with one, and then we got to run. Um, you can do this bulking or cutting. So I'll say if you're cutting, or like me right now, like calories are a little lower, get like a low carb pasta or protein pasta. If you're trying to keep calories low, use the Big Mountain tofu. Throw the tofu in a blender. Throw a bunch of nutritional yeast in there with it. Some salt, some garlic. Get your pasta started on the stove. Once the water's a little lower, then take your blended tofu and drop it on there. Maybe throw in some veggies. I threw in some green beans this morning. And you got yourself like a super protein mac and cheese. Like this thing that I made this morning is like, I used a low carb pasta. It was like 54 grams of protein, 30 carbs, and 18 fat because I used regular tofu. But if you use the Big Mountain, the fat would be like 0. If you're bulking, I would just use regular tofu, regular pasta, and either some more extra cheese or just a ton of nutritional yeast. And like, who can't make pasta? Like, it's that easy. Like, I don't even got to tell you all how to make it. Like, you know how to make pasta. You can throw something in the blender and pour it on top. You can figure it out. It's super easy, and I actually really enjoyed eating it. So I made 2 of them. I'm gonna have one tomorrow. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
so you get
tofu is a
creative.
great hack. I was just telling that to one of my clients who was struggling because she was so hungry. She was so hungry and she had 1,700 calories. And I'm like, honestly, that's like a lot of food. That's not really, I mean,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be hungry. So let's look at what you're eating. So I looked at what she was eating, and she was eating like a lot of like vegan mayo, a lot of vegan ranch. So like she had a ton of like calorie dense food. She didn't want to follow a meal plan. So she was following her calories and her protein. And I'm like, all right, well, this is why, because you're spending like almost 600 calories on just sauces. So like, of course you're hungry. So yeah, I love tofu for creating like those creamy sauces. Like I've made a tofu mayo. I've done the same thing where you do a tofu. I make it like an Alfredo with
Mhm.
nutritional yeast and garlic powder, onion powder, and same thing you did, same concept, except for I put it on spaghetti squash because I just don't have quite as many calories for like protein pasta. Um, and yeah, throw some spinach in there, throw some basil in there, some tomatoes. It's so good. So yeah, the tofu is a great hack, especially if you use like I get the little silken tofus.
Mhm.
So especially if you're doing, like, I've made a vegan ranch and stuff like that, and like a couple tablespoons of that, it's hardly any calories, like less than 50 calories. So it's a really good hack too. Like something that I feel like even non-vegans would really like. People who were, trying to get in shape and cut calories. Like I feel like if people were a little bit more open-minded, they would love it.
Yeah, agreed. And regular tofu has a ton of health benefits. There's fiber, calcium, and it's gonna be more filling than, I don't know, like a vegan junk food or something like that, like you said. And then if you're really on a crunch, just use the Big Mountain tofu. There's no fat, there's no carbs. Like it's that easy. I keep one of those in my fridge at all times. If I'm having a hard day and I'm like, I need to eat food, but keep my macros in check, I got it right there. I will make the French fries. That's what I'll do. It's just so satisfying to me without breaking the bank. All right. I think we delivered a lot of value here. We're not perfect. Neither of us are. We've been in this coaching business and bodybuilding business for a long time. We still got stuff to learn. And I just learned from you, the spaghetti squash. Didn't even think about that. So keep learning, guys. Stay on it. You'll figure it out as you go. Come see us August 25th, Georgia Veg Fest. It's gonna be in Atlanta. If you got any questions, hit us up on social media. That's all I got, dude.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed these recipes. I have a ton of them posted, so
Yeah, Brooke
you
does a
guys should
better
check
job
out my
posting than
page.
me. Yeah, I put most of mine on YouTube because I like to do the long form. So, all right, y'all, Vegans Who Live podcast. We are out. If you want to drop us a question for our Q&A session, go to veganswholivepodcast.com, drop that there, and we will answer it live on air for y'all. All right, we're out. Thank you.